Hi friends, welcome to PHP online classes. This is Anvesh Reddy. Today I will give you a short demo on PHP and what are the courses we are going to cover in the future online classes. So let's start with the introduction. PHP was introduced by Rasmus Ledov in the year 1995 using C and Perl software. So the main idea of for Rasmus Ledov to develop such a server-side scripting language was to test. He wanted to upload his resume into the server, and he wanted to check how many number of employees are visiting his resume daily. So in order to do this, he developed a server-side scripting languages and uploaded like PHP and uploaded his resume to the server. So that has been worked out for him, and it has been a popular language since then. So PHP was originally stands for hypertext personal homepage, but later it has been changed to hypertext preprocessor. The main use of PHP is used mainly to develop dynamic web applications. So now let's come to the features. The main features of PHP is like it is an open source, in the sense it is a free software. That is, anybody who wants to develop a web application or a website using PHP, they can download it for free, and they can use the tools for free, and they can develop their own website for free of cost. Cross-platform. PHP can run in any kind of a platform like Windows or Linux or Mac. So PHP is cross-server compatibility as well. Generally, in any website, any web application to run, it requires an external server. So PHP is compatible with different kinds of servers like Apache, Tomcat, IIS, etc. PHP is cross database as well. So by default, PHP is inbuilt with MySQL. It can still run in other database servers like SQL servers, etc. So the major area where PHP has got popular was since 2005. The introduction of OOPS concepts. Before 2005, PHP used to not support object-oriented programming concepts in a full-fledged way, but since 2005 it has been implemented using object-oriented programming concepts as well. So that has been one of the reasons for PHP to become more popular. So now let's get into some basics of what is a web browser and web server. Web browsers are nothing but the Google Chrome and Firefox, which are used run in the client-side system. So web server is used to run web applications. The main responsibility of web server is handling the request from the web browser and replying it to the web browser. So the web browser, which is used to open websites from web servers. Suppose from the Google Chrome or any web browser you want to open any website, say Google Gmail account you want to website. So from the client, the web browser, we are sending a request www.google.com to the server. The server takes the request and replies to the web browser, the client, and with the desired page what he requested. So this is how the conversation between web browser and web server takes place. So different kinds of web servers are available. Those are Apache, Tomcat, IIS, etc. So client and server-side scripting languages. So this is the important phase where we have to know what is client-side scripting language and server-side scripting languages. So HTML, CSS, JavaScript are all comes under client-side scripting languages. That is, whenever if you write any code using HTML or CSS, you can execute them with the client system, that is a web browser. So if you write some code in HTML page using HTML, then you can display it using any browser. So these kind of languages comes under client-side scripting languages, whereas the server-side scripting languages like PHP, ASP, .NET version, JSP, the Java version. So to execute, if you write some code and to execute this code, These codes are served in the external server. So to execute this code, we need to have connection with the external server. Then only these functions are will be executing. So client-side scripting languages are available in our local system, in our client system. So these codes can be available, whereas in the code and encrypted in the whereas the code given in the server-side scripting will be not available to the end user. So in order to develop a PHP application, now we came to know we need to require an operating system and server and MySQL database and a PHP tool to run these applications. So there are different kinds of open source tools available. So we can use any one of them based on our requirements, and we can run our applications. We can build our applications. So one of them is LAMP, which stands for Linux, Apache, MySQL and PHP. So this is for the people who use Linux as an operating system. They can download the LAMP and they can start developing their application using PHP. And WAMP stands for Windows, Apache, MySQL and PHP. So people who are working on Windows operating system can use WAMP. XAMPP stands for both. It is cross compatible. It can work on Linux and Windows operating system, Apache, MySQL, PHP and Perl software. So XAMPP is most probably widely used, as it is both both operating compatibility. So now let's discuss what are the concepts we are going to learn in this particular course. So as we have discussed already, the client-side scripting language comes under HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So for any developer, it is very good, it is mandatory to have a basic understanding of web designing concepts as well, like HTML, CSS. So HTML is the main heart for any web application. So using HTML, we are going to display the forms, tables, what are the different types of tags we want to use in a web application, the outer layer. So CSS is cascading style sheets, stands for cascading style sheets. So there are different types of CSS, inline CSS, internal CSS and external CSS. Depending on our need, we will use different types of CSS, different selectors like class selectors and ID selectors. We'll discuss what are the advantages of CSS, how can we reduce our code using CSS, applying CSS. So then comes the JavaScript, which is the most crucial part in any web application. In any web application, the JavaScript will play a huge role. Almost 50% of the website will depend on the applications related to JavaScript. So JavaScript is used to develop the website dynamic web applications. It used to make the website more attractive. So JavaScript is a language. So what are the kinds of variables we are going to use, operators, functions, and introduction to JavaScript objects through which we are going to perform the dynamic applications, develop dynamic applications, and HTML DOM through which we can identify the elements here. So next comes the server-side scripting language, the PHP. Our main focus will be on PHP. So just a brief introduction, the history, the advantage of PHP other than other web-based applications like JSP or ASP. So PHP is a language like any other language. It will consist of syntax, what are the styles, what are the different kinds of syntax we need to use to write a PHP applications, data types and variables, what are the different kinds of error types available in PHP, arrays which will be using most part in our applications, then functions. So there are different kinds of include file functions which are equally important, which we will use to get the file contents of other file into our file system. So and then comes the super global variables. So these are the concepts where we need to be very strong. This is the major concepts which are going to play a crucial role in any applications. So people who are strong in these concepts will have an edge over other developers. So these are the concepts which are going to differentiate from the other developers in the security wise, if we consider, or between providing authentication to different users, and differentiating between different levels of users. So we will be using these kinds of concepts. So $get, post and request are the methods, different kinds of method, how we are going to send data to the server, in which method we want to call. We will choose the preferable method what we depending upon the request need. So $files is used for uploading the file contents into the server. $cookies and sessions, these are the two important concepts for us to become to make our application more stronger. So $session and cookies we will be discussing in the demo, in the second part of the demo, in the clear way how we are going to use this. So $server also. And then PHP is by default built with MySQL database. So a brief introduction on MySQL. What is a MySQL database? Storage engines, different kinds of storage engines and their performance, operators and MySQL functions, constraints, different kinds of commands we are going to use, that is DDL, DML, DCL and TCL, MySQL joins, MySQL views, and storing images in database, using how to store image content into the database. So to conclude with our course content, we will discuss with Ajax, asynchronous JavaScript and XML, which is used for developing dynamic applications and also to reduce the burden to the server. So this is the most important concept. We'll be discussing in a detailed way the Ajax concepts as well. So students will be given assignments, regular assignments related to concepts covered in the class. So that will be a very good practice for them. So now let's get into practicality. So these are the concepts we are going to learn, but how we are going to implement it is in the real-time scenario. So let's get into one website, anveshreddym.com. This is my personal website I have developed using PHP. So now if you observe in this website, whatever the layout you are seeing, that is developed using HTML. Wherever using the tags, different kinds of tags, we are displaying the text here, and using tables we are creating the input form tags. These are the input buttons, we can give the input text data here, and the whole basic website, the outer line is developed using HTML. Whereas coming to CSS, stands for cascading style sheets. If you observe in this website, so this content is in one color and this is in different color, different font. So the styles are different in this. If you observe with this font, this is different. So by using CSS, we are able to implement multiple styles to the elements. So we'll discuss detail in how to implement the CSS as well. So if you are a first time user, you will be not having an email ID, so you need to so you can't get into the website without having a valid email address. So to become a member, we need to sign up in this website. So I'm going for the sign up. So when when you click on the join button, it immediately asks for the validation. This field is required. So this is mainly done by using JavaScript. So JavaScript is not only for validation, but it is also used to display used to create dynamic web applications. So here the main reason for validations was whenever a user, unfortunately, without providing the required details, if he clicks on the join button, then he might be submitting the form with an empty data. So with this, there is no use for the user to enter into the website without having a valid email address and password. So in order to avoid this kind of problems, we are using JavaScript. And not only that, we will be continuing this later part in the second part of the video. and thank you.